Call meeting to order. Lisa, can you do roll?
Here.
Here. Thank you, Lisa. Please join me in prayer. Lord, we ask for your blessing and guidance tonight over our meeting as we discuss issues and make decisions for our city. We ask a special blessing for all of our staff and employees and all our residents. We ask healing for those who are battling any illnesses or diseases, especially COVID or cancer. And again, finally, we ask for healing for those families who have lost a loved one these past couple of weeks in our community. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Start with summary of current events. And Mike, we'll start with you down there. We only have one mic tonight, so. Thank you. Jesse?
Yeah, I also don't have anything. Thank you.
Mariano?
No, I don't have anything tonight, that's all right.
Fernando?
Well, I thought there was a candidate forum tomorrow, isn't there?
Yes, there is, sir.
Okay. So, good luck to everybody who's gonna do that.
And that's at 6 tomorrow night.
Yeah.
They put me on there, but I don't have a competitors, so.
Said that we can
Make a statement or?
make a statement.
Yeah.
If you'd like to.
Ready?
Thank you, Mayor. I really don't have anything other than, just to remind everybody that school starts next week. So, beware of all the buses and kids running around. I'm sure they're gonna be pretty excited, as well as the bus drivers. So, just be mindful out there. Summer's, I guess, officially over for, our residents, but, kinda good to see everybody back in school again. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Freddie. A couple of the council members will be traveling to Winslow for the Rural Policy Forum. It'll be August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Another advantage to gain more information or experience in what other cities are doing in rural communities. And just a reminder, be cautious out there. Again, COVID numbers are continuing to rise in our community. They've doubled in the past week. Just take the precautions if you feel you need to. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, everything's very busy. We're making progress going forward. Big effort to wrap up the budget tonight. Just a couple small things. I was able to travel to Tucson for the ACMA, Arizona City County Manager Association event, and met with a lot of other city officials, administrative, city managers, shared some issues. Surprised at some of the issues we talked about, surprised at some we didn't, that weren't, absorbed and on the front burner. So it helps me get perspective of the combined, consensus of city management and what cities are looking for. So thank you for that. And I think what people really care about is hopefully by Friday we'll have the wood chips in at the community center, the park over by the community center, because wood chip shortages, not a good thing when we got playgrounds ready to go. Right, John? Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's all I have.
Thank you. We go to first community call to the public. Do we have anybody online? I have no speaker cards here.
Nothing on the phone. Let me check the emails real quick. Waiting for. Council. Look real quick. I do not see anything. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Special presentation ceremonial matters, and we have item A is Arizona State Transportation Board member Steve Stratton will provide an update and introduce Drew John, potential appointee to the Arizona Department of Transportation Board.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I know I look pretty casual, but for those of you who know me, I actually put on a collar and got on my flip-flops for you, so. I want to say thank you for the retirement party you gave me in December from the board. As you can see, I'm still on the board because the governor has not appointed someone yet. And while I could have stepped down, I felt it was in the 3 counties I represent's best interest if I stayed on. So I have done so. And a couple of projects before I introduce Drew. Coming up, the Queen Creek Bridge will go to bid the first quarter of next year, 23. It's about a $42 million project. It will affect our community significantly. And the staff has assured me that the PR will be done well in advance to the public so that we can make alternate routes. There will be a new bridge built to the north, much like the Pinto Valley Bridge was built and then switched over. So the impact should be fairly mild, hopefully, although the new traffic counts are showing about 40,000 cars a day on Highway 60 now. It's a lot of traffic. There's some other projects, minor projects coming up in the community. I did bring to their attention last week that our signboard by Regis Road has been out for several months, and they've assured me that'll be put back up. prior to any construction going on 60, so the notices can go up. As you know, my seat represents Pinal, Graham, and Gila counties. And it rotates every 6 years, so every 18 years, a county will have the opportunity to have a person on the board. This coming term is Graham County's opportunity. Delbert Householder was the last person on the board from Graham County who did a great job for us. He helped us in many ways with the Silver King and Superior Streets portion of the divided highway from Florence Junction through Superior. And we lost Delbert recently, and his wife was from here. In fact, I found out, and I was sharing with Paul and Drew for the meeting, that my grandparents actually bought the house from her parents. She went to Globe High School here. So there was a connection there, which is nice. Drew had served 12 years on the Graham County Board of Supervisors. I believe Councilman Pastor served at the same time for Gila County as Drew did with Graham County. He's also served a term, I believe, in the House, the State House. And he's well-rounded. He has a lot of transportation experience, maybe not firsthand, but have been exposed to it. And he knows a lot of people, not only in Gila and Graham, but also in Pinal County, which is a very big thing with this seat. The most significant thing is that we have an ear when we have a problem, such as Jerry's been calling me with problems on Connie's Bridge, Cottonwood Bridge. Gila County called with the Tunnel Creek Bridge last week. And to have that kind of ear, which I know Drew will give us, is something that you need when something arises. And it does make a difference, I can tell you firsthand, with the staff. There's been some things done with Gila County and with the city that would not have been done. It's very important. The sign by Los Hermanos, the crest by the mayor, is just one of the little things that you can see. Anyway, I'd like to introduce Drew to you. I talked to Danny Smith from the Board of Supervisors in Graham County. There were a couple of people that I told him I would support. First on my list was Drew John. Yeah. The Graham County Board came together, and that's who they've selected. I'm supporting him. The Gila County Board of Supervisors individually have each, I understand, written a letter to the governor. And I would appreciate it if you would talk to Drew, and if you're comfortable, if the council would pass a resolution in his support. Thank you. Drew?
Mayor, board members, appreciate you giving me the time here. I've served in a lot of different capacities. I've worked with Mike. Mike was on the, I don't know how many years, but he was also on the Gila Community College Board when my wife and I helped start the cosmetology program up there. He had a school in Safford. Of course, she was the brains, as you can tell, of cosmetology. But we did that, so good to see Mike again. And I also served, when I was in the legislature, I served on the Transportation Committee with the legislature and House of Representatives. So I did see a lot of things. I was a big supporter of transportation. I was in your shoes for many years, fighting for the dollars. And so it's going to be interesting being on the other side and seeing how we can divvy this out to make sure. I'm a rural guy. I mean, I was raised 20 miles on a dirt road, washboard road. I could make it in 20 minutes too, but there wasn't a policeman there at the time. Don't tell anybody, Al, okay? But I appreciate your support on this. I look forward to working on the Transportation Board. I've been appointed by 5 different governors on different boards, clear back to Babbitt, Ducey twice, Greenhole, and those. So it's I look forward to working with you. Steve's gonna be hard to replace. I met Steve when I was a county supervisor, and he was the manager of Gila County. Terry Cooper was our manager, and he spoke very, very highly of him, and I kept thinking, this guy's gotta be 8 foot tall, pretty big guy, but to me, he is. After I met him and got to know him, I felt, real comfortable with him and good friend, so. Any questions you'd like to ask me? Pretty much an open book. When you get in the legislature, you are an open book.
Mr. Mayor, just a comment, as Drew said, him and I were associated for quite a few years in the Board of Supervisors umbrella, and he was a very progressive thinker, always right on top of things, always available to anybody who wanted to talk to. And even with Gila Community College, I forgot about that when we started that program. He was very aware of our community and rural problems. So I don't have any problem supporting him. Mr. Mayor?
Marianne?
I knew Terry Cooper when I was county emergency manager for the county.
Oh,
I've known him for many, many years. He's a rock solid kind of guy.
good guy.
Mr. Mayor, in the museum in Miami, there's a dignitary room with a lot of local, portraits of local leadership. And it's people like you that are represented in that room. They step up, they run for office, they step up to be on a board. They don't have to do those things, but they fight for the interests of rural Arizona. And I know we'll have a great association working with you. Neela Graham and Greenlee always stick together, so it's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you. We're definitely sister counties.
Fernando?
So we worked together on some Project Central stuff.
Yeah, I knew I'd work with you somewhere. I was trying to figure it out, man.
And Terry Cooper railroaded me into the Arizona Rural Development Program for the state too, so good people. But thank you for all you do. I know that you've really supported rural Arizona, and I know that you've helped a lot with Project Central, so we really appreciate everything you do. And definitely have my support.
Ready?
Mr. John, I haven't personally met you, but I do appreciate the comments that my colleagues are making, as well as your former or who you're going to take place. I know that, Steve has done a marvelous job for the city, for this community, and it's people like you guys that and women that really take to heart the heart and soul of rural communities and the needs that we have, because you're right, we're always fighting for those dollars from those big cities, and sometimes we're not at the top of the totem pole, so we need people like you, and I appreciate your effort, and I wish you all the luck, and if Steve says that you're the man, then I totally believe you. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mr. John, yeah, it was nice meeting you tonight also. I look forward to working with you, in future issues, and glad to hear you're rural, understand rural, and that's truly important. Steve's gonna be hard to replace. Steve's been, huge for our rural Gila County, and done a lot for us, and we're gonna miss that part in that board. So, but we look forward to working with you in the future.
And all I would ask is that you communicate with me individually, whether you have a point man or not, individually works too. You have a problem or you see some potential problem, if I'm on the board, don't be afraid to call me. I'll make sure you have all my contacts so that I can help understand the situation better. Because you're right, rural communities get left behind a lot. We don't have the numbers, and we kind of, use my French, but we kind of get screwed on a lot of things because we don't have the numbers. But yet people come to our areas because they don't want to be around those numbers. And we need to have the systems in place and the roads in place to be able to get them there. And so that was something that I fought in the Transportation Committee in the House a lot. I said, okay, you guys fix your roads in Phoenix all you want, drive around in circles, have a good time. Unless you fix our roads, you're not coming to see our area. That was a statement that I made many, many times, and I truly believe that. But I appreciate the time and appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, before he steps down, just real quick, this is one of the key relationships that we have and have benefited from. Mr. Mayor, I think when you became mayor, one of the first things we did was take a field trip to the ADOT meeting. The 7 members of ADOT spend, I think, the biggest budget of any type of a group like this, and we use it differently. We're not struggling to get things on the 5-year plan. We're trying to get things fixed. We're trying to unlog jam smaller things, and the type of relationship we've had historically and intend and hope to have with you is key. They're in the process. It's a political process of appointing the governor appointing someone for this statewide position. It has to come from Graham County, but we understand that it would carry a lot of weight if we had a resolution by the full council. So unless I hear otherwise from the council, we're going to bring forward in 2 weeks a resolution for the council to consider and possibly vote on. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I'd just like to thank you for supporting Drew and taking my word. I know a few of you have had relationships with him or worked with him, and that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. But thank you for all the nice things you've said, and thank you for helping. I think he'll serve our county well.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. See you around, John.
Take care.
All right, so
Item B, council will hear an update on the community center pool rehabilitation project.
Sorry, we got the Swan.
Oh,
Oh, that's big news.
So I'm really looking forward to working with Drew because he's a person who realizes that a $4 million job to us is as important as a $40 million job to other communities. So, you know, we're really looking forward to that. So tonight, I have brought our project manager to talk about the pool and what's going on out there. We couldn't get James Neville on the phone because he's traveling right now. He's trying to get here for a meeting tomorrow. And he's in, what did he say? Oregon right now. So he's in transit. So he just texted that he couldn't make it on the Zoom call. So our, not least is Rick here to let us know what's going on.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm sorry I don't have the accent that he does. He's really eloquent, but just want to give you a quick update in 4 minutes. It'll be real brief. I know we had the tour out there, I believe it was a couple weeks ago, and I think most of you, if not all of you, were able to attend that. Since that time, a lot of work has been done. Believe it or not, it's work that's not necessarily visible, but it is becoming so as we speak. This week, we finished the foundations for the roof structure, which is a separated roof structure. So there's, I think, 21 drilled shaft foundations that have been poured and cast with the bolts in there for the attachment to the columns, the steel columns, which will go in place. Those are all been completed. All the foundations for the slide structure has been completed. So that's ready to be constructed and erected as well. The slide structure itself did come in. It's on site with all the little curves on it and everything, so it's on site there. It'll be one of the last things that'll be installed. The other thing that was recently done was the filter was put in place. They're going to reuse the vault that was there before to put all the pumping equipment and all of that in order to keep it more secured and safe. So there's going to be 3 pumps in there. There'll be one for the pool, one for the slide that runs the water that goes down the slide, and then one for the splash pad. So those are the 3 pumps. Those will all be located in that current vault, so we will be reusing that facility. The other thing that has been done that's exciting too is the block arrived for the building. I think the first of the trying to think what the west side, I think it's the west side, has about 3 courses of block on there. They're waiting before they do any more. We're going to put the sewer lines and the water lines in, excuse me, before they go on up with the block. What they'll do is we're building right now a stem wall, which I believe is 5 or 4 courses of block, which will have concrete poured in all the voids of the wall to be like a semi-retaining wall on one side. So once that's done, then they can continue with the building. So they'll backfill that and they'll continue with that work. Also scheduled is going to be a lot of work with the roof structure. So that will be starting, I think, next week, hopefully. It's kind of a moving schedule, so it varies week to week on availability of these folks and of materials. So that roof structure will be going up as well. The other thing that was done recently that was paramount, when you were out there, I believe they were still working on the gutter system. The gutter system is 100%, well, 90% complete. We still got to grout underneath it and fill the voids underneath there, but it's pretty much complete. It's all welded together. They have the grading on the top of it as well. They've got it covered in plastic so stuff can't get into the gutter as they're working on it. So once that's done, we're hoping to get some of the grading around the pool done. We have to do, I think it's 10 feet around the perimeter of the pool where we have to actually put the concrete decking on there. The reason we have to do that is because to install the liner system, the polymer liner. So we have to put a felt system down and then the liner, and then that will be complete. But they have to have that working platform so that the thing doesn't get dirty and dust get in there and get it contaminated. The only other thing they have to do to the pool, they finished concreting in everything to the zero entry. So now what they have to do is put in a plaster in there to do all the leveling. It was not completely level, so the plastering will get it level, and then it'll be ready to receive the liner. So I think that's pretty much it. Have I left out anything?
No, we did have a meeting with the subcontractors this morning on site to go over schedule. We kind of wiped the old schedule out and said, you put down when you can work, because it's really been a challenge with the materials situation, because who knew a year ago when we started all this that we would have these kind of material delays. So I really thought the deadline that we originally set was going to be good, but if you can't get the materials, you can't build it. So we're optimistic that we're moving forward. We wanted to make sure that multiple contractors could be working at the same time. That's why we had the meeting this morning. And I think the plumbers are starting tomorrow, and the stem wall and the work done by CDX is going on continually from this point forward. And the electrical, all the bases for the power poles have been set out there. They'll be starting doing the wiring and stuff for them right away. The gas lines have all been run. So we're making a lot of progress. You're just not being able to see it because it's underground. So we still have to run the plumbing for the pool though. And I think they said they're going to do that the first of the week, first part of the week. But we're moving forward. It's just, hopefully we can get on schedule and get some of this material in. Like Rick said, a lot of it's already came in, but there's a lot of key parts that haven't came in yet. Any questions for us?
What kind of timeline are we looking at?
So I hate to set that timeline. I think Structural was talking sometime in August, but that there again it depends on material delays on whether that gets pushed or not. So we're doing the best we can with the material that we have on site. So.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Jerry, labor, how's the labor part going?
As far as
availability, I know we have good people working on it.
So we did not have the expert come in from Indiana that was supposed to come in, and so we've we've got a lot of local labor, and supervisors that have done this type of work before, so it's a little slower because you don't have the people that jump in and have the initiative to do it, so you have to direct them, but, we're already delayed because of material, so I think we're making progress out there. Wouldn't you say, Rick?
Yeah. This last couple of weeks, we've made progress.
So I think that the plans are pretty well complete. Everything's been approved by Wildan, and we're moving forward. It's just a matter of getting the work done. So, yeah. Ready, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. So through my work experience and just from hearing from others, in my work arena, concrete is becoming a problem for a lot of industries obtaining concrete. Do you see that? Do you see us in that same situation, or do we have?
So far, knock on wood, we haven't had that. That's been more isolated towards the valley where there's a lot of work going on. But CMAX up here, as long as we order 2 days in advance,
Prefer 3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days, we've been getting what we need. We had concrete running out all morning this morning, so we've not had that issue. The steel's been more of an issue for us than anything else, and most of that's been delivered. We still have some electrical components that are back ordered, and some of the plumbing components. But the pipe for the splash pad and so forth hasn't made it to the job site yet. That's the one we're worried about. So anyway, progress. I got an extra shovel. Anybody wants to help?
Jerry, I don't know how much more we can do to put the message out there. You read these comments on social media about the delays of the pool and everything. I mean, this council and our staff are the ones that want to see this thing happen. But you have these comments out there from individuals that really don't understand. And I think we put it out there enough. I don't know if there's some other way we can get it to people to understand that it's happening. It's just supply and demand that you're dealing with. There's also comments about the amount of money the city's paying, but I guess they don't understand all the stakeholders that are involved in this, and how do we truly get it out there to them,
So I think you're right. I think people don't realize how many stakeholders are involved in this, and maybe we need to do some sort of a public announcement on that. As far as the delays and so forth, there's not anything we can do about that. I mean, it isn't like we're trying to. If it was up to Rick and I, we would have opened it up July 4th. If Rick was trying to get certified to be a lifeguard, I have no idea. So
I didn't know you had to swim to qualify.
yeah, who would have thought? We thought we had a swan and everything. So, but no, and it's all going to be a grand opening, because by the time we get this done, the park's going to be done. We're going to have the sewer coming through right afterwards, and I think that I think you'll be happy with what's going on out there. That's going to be a showstopper. So, and we're going to have a really nice bridge to get there. So, any other questions?
The nicest thing I've been able to say to the public is, well, one, they are worried about the opening, and of course, it will be open in a couple of weeks. So they're always asking me, will it be a heated pool? And I get to say, yes, it is. And they get it. They understand the season will be held later because we will have a heated pool. And I said, and by the way, so are the splash pads that will have heated water. So the excitement is building up out there, and it's nice to be able to say those things. And I know there are things that you just can't control. And as you say, we didn't know this last year, but future's bright, and we may have a really nice late season with heated water at our disposal. So we're plugging away at it.
I don't, other than the time factor, I don't see a down position here for the city. We have a lot of stakeholders who are looking at a product that is going to be outstanding. So I believe that that our choices to partner with these stakeholders was a great one. So we've taken to a new level. And we're finding things like the building that wasn't square, that we had to square up, and, you know, there's little things like that, but, what are they, 3 inches out, weren't they, Rick? So
Everything's square.
yeah, so everything's square now, but I'm just saying, back 60 years ago, they may not have had a tape measure that worked.
Well, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Jerry, there was like random use of rebar. I mean, some things had rebar and,
Yeah, so part of the footers had rebar in it, part of it didn't have rebar in it. You know, none of the blocks the cavities were filled in it, the voids were filled in it. You know, at one point, when we took the interior walls down, you could have pushed the other walls in.
Mm.
So what we're building is really substantial compared to what was there. And don't get me wrong, what they built 60 years ago served its purpose, but it's time to go bigger and badder. So,
Mr. Mayor, members of council, just a quick update. Staff is putting weekly updates in the newspaper, and on radio, social media sites about the status of the pool. We're on Facebook on that, and we're doing our best to reach out to as many people as possible. We'll never hit everybody, but we're trying to get that message across that, you know, hold on, it's coming. Do we have a sign there? Do we have a sign on the fence?
Yep.
Yeah, we're moving so quick, we figured well,
we thought it'd be open by now.
that would guarantee it get done. As soon as we got the sign finished, we ordered the sign, and by the time,
So the really good thing is, staff is out there watching the pool, and we're managing to whittle those wood chips that we need for the park. Yeah. So anyway, if there's not any more questions, we appreciate it.
and
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think it is a good idea that we can probably pull one of the renderings up and just get a big blow up. You can get, yeah,
We can make that happen. We can make that happen.
you can get a banner made pretty darn quick around here.
I don't know whether we can find a picture without Vince's picture in it, so.
Thank you.
One last thing that you mentioned, that the one feature that we added for the last couple of meetings is we added what do you call it, a plaque, a monument type of feature. And what we're gonna do is, and to recognize all the sponsors, I think Linda's gonna come up with a plaque with all the sponsors' names on it. The hospital's on the first, I guess, because they were the number one. And
Mr. Mayor, members of council, so I believe we're gonna have the standard plaque for the council that voted for the project. We're gonna archive and take the plaque over the original building and put that
Right.
on the second pillar or the post. And then the hospital would like to be included on all of the contributors who have donated, APS, Southwest Gas, our cement companies, the hospital in major ways. And we're gonna have just a plaque that lists all of those people that have put on there, starting with the regional hospital, the board.
And all the other stakeholders that contributed.
Yes,
right, it'll be real nice.
that will be the long plaque.
Okay.
Be right in
mines.
the entryway as you walk in, it'll be one of the first things you'll see when you walk in.
Yeah, the hospital and the mines, big players.
Thank you. Item C, council will hear an update on the Arizona Department of Revenue's notification process for transaction privilege tax reporting businesses in preparation for the sales tax adjustment scheduled to go into effect August 1st, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, so I just wanted to give everyone a brief update. The tax was passed by council, I think, May 28th. We have the starting date. We were in communication even before we passed that with Department of Revenue. They have it on their website. They have a newsletter blast. They've been blasting that out. But I was on the phone with them today just to talk about a couple things. On our website right now, we have links to the site, but when the merchant goes to pay their TPT at the end of this month, it will automatically calculate that for them. What the information that we need to get out to our merchants is they need to start on August 1st collecting that higher rate. They need to adjust their point of sales, or however whatever mechanism they use to collect that, so they collect enough so they can meet their obligation to pass along that tax towards the end of the month. And so we have links. I think Danny has a link on the YouTube feed right now. And I was to show how easy this is, I was gonna have Lisa just go on the web, and we're gonna show you how we can find out more information. So if you pull up a browser and search for Department of Revenue, Arizona Department of Revenue, you find that main link, and the first thing you would have seen, but we went there before, is there's a at the very right where it says top, there'll be a pop-up that will ask you to sign up for the newsletter, and the link's in there. But when the first time you visit there, that pop-up will go there. That's the newsletter. They'll give you the information ongoing. It's a good tip. The people at the Department of Revenue said ask everybody to go to that, and the latest information will come into their inbox. Now, if you scroll down to the right where it says business, you see many links there, and if you look at the see more, that's on the business side, and then there should be a quick reference. That's the one that has a list of how to I can't see that far, but step guides and different types of things, tutorials, all the information. It's a plethora of stuff, and the city support group at the Department of Revenue said, please send your merchants to this website, have them look for the quick links, and they can find lots of handy references. It is in their best interest that everybody is comfortable and knows how to do this. And so we have the links on our website. We're putting links out through Facebook, and we also intend to take the same email list that we used during the pandemic and our what business contacts we do have, and send some of these links out with a little note to everybody reminding them also. So I think it's a partnership more so than we expected or realized with Department of Revenue to get this out. Department of Revenue, their structure is there, but I think it's the least what we can do to help make sure everybody realizes change your point of sale collection piece of the puzzle. Maybe Councilman Leatham can explain what that is. I don't know how that's hard coded into your software or how that would work, but it's just a matter of. So when you're is there in your point of sale that you're familiar with, you just set a number, you set a rate. Okay, and everybody says everybody has a different way of doing it. Yeah, so if you have that little card on the side that has percentages.
Bars are kind of the exception because they just set the price and then they pay the tax out of that price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so but when I used to be a manager at a restaurant, I just programmed in the tax rate. I just changed the number, and I just set the date to start it, and that was it.
So and so we'll be doing our best to get the word out, including sending some of these links we've been sent by the Department of Revenue and these quick links and references. So so that is my update, Mr. Mayor and members of council.
Thank you, Paul. Go to consent calendar. Matters listed in the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and or staff may remove any item for separate consideration. A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent calendar. Accounts payable, $295,034.50. Consideration of approval of council minutes, June 14, 2022 meeting minutes, July 12, 2022 meeting minutes. Consideration of agreements and purchases less than $25,000. Consideration to approve the paint colors for the building located at 201 North Broad Street owned by Tony Brusca. Consideration to approve a letter of support to Senator Mark Kelly requesting fiscal year 2023 community project funding to complete the Michelson building project. Request for council to ratify the purchase of one Mitsubishi 17093-527 3,500-pound material handler from Nauman Obbs Material Handling Incorporated for the amount of $26,607 to be funded from GL account number 50-80-52000. Anybody from the public, the council, or staff wishing to remove any of these items for separate consideration?
Mr. Mayor, I would request we pull, item E. And so I can give a little backstory on that.
You read the total of the column, not the
Yeah,
whole.
and the number I read for accounts payable is correct. Yeah, I wrote the wrong one, or read the wrong one. $751,779.13 to be corrected on that. And I would like to pull item, C.
C, yes.
C and E.
Mr. Mayor, if there are no other comments or questions, I motion that we remove items C and E for further discussion and approve the consent agenda as a.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent calendar minus C and E. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. So item C is the, color palette for 201 North Broad Street. And I know Michelle's in here, and the only reason I wanted to pull that is I wanted to thank the work that's been done. Our HPAC, group also has they always put a lot of work into what they're doing. But I also want to commend Mr. Brusco for, going above and beyond and trying to get, renderings that would match, and it's really tough because it's a big building, and he did a lot of work, had some other people do some work. Michelle, you might explain a little bit of what he went through to try and get there.
Sure. Mr. Brusco has a building at 201 Broad Street. It's across Cedar Street from the Globe Theater. It's the building that has the round windows. The building has existing tile on the front. For lack of better word, one is pink, one is brown, and there's one that's a multicolor. He tried really hard to pick some colors that would match the terracotta type color tile. Historic Preservation asked him to pick something was actually on the historic palette, but he had consulted with Frank Bellum and chose a color that matched the terracotta, one of the terracotta tiles. If you take a walk downtown Globe, if you happen to see it, stop by and you can see all the little color nuances in there. He worked really hard painting the colors on a big surface, looking at it in different times of day. When he showed them to me, to the untrained eye, there's not a lot of difference between what the suggestion was and what he chose. But when you look at him in different light, the other one really did look purple, and he didn't want a big purple building. And it was just really important to him to have so he did a custom color that was chosen by a world-renowned artist, which is pretty exciting, because he knew he's a dentist. This is not his area of expertise, so he sought out an expert. And then these are two colors that he ended up choosing. And if you hold the other colors up, the one is really like kind of purple. So he really, it was important to him to do a good job for the community and have his building look nice. He's also going to replace the windows on the Cedar side of the street. So it's going to have new windows, it's going to have new paint, and it's just going to really freshen up that corner. So he was excited about it.
And I guarantee you, if you look at those colors inside here, it looks way different than if you go on the side of the building in the sun. Totally different.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the light will reflect when you're looking at it in the daylight. And I just think he worked really hard to pick a color. He just wanted to do a good job for the community and make his building stand out.
Any other questions? Thank you, Michelle, for the work on that project also to make it come forward. So,
Mayor, I would move to approve item C, consideration to approve the paint colors for a building located at 201 North Broad Street, owned by.
second. We have a motion and a second for approval of item C. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passed. Item E, Paul.
Mr. Mayor, if you want to go ahead and read that, I don't know if you need to read that again or.
Yeah, we have request for council to ratify the purchase of one Mitsubishi 170-9352 3,500-pound material handler from Nauman Hobbs Material Handling Incorporated for the amount of $26,607 to be funded from GL account number 5080-52000.
So this is an inside forklift for material handler for Public Works for their new building. When the original purchase came through, it came through at like 24,995. Purchases under 25 we don't need council approval authority to purchase, and I signed off on it. But the original quote did not have the sales tax on it. And so that took it up. We had placed it on council agenda as an informational item for under 25 list. But we was pointed out to us by one of the council members that it in fact was an item at 26,607 on the under 25 list. And so we need to bring this back for an actual vote by council to ratify this purchase. We have taken delivery and we have paid the vendor. But it was in such a point that we needed to do that. My apologies. It was one of those things that I think this is like third try to get on the agenda, and for whatever reason, it ended up on the late agenda. So we added this, I think, on Monday. So my apologies to council. Sometimes those little ones that just keep slipping under the radar. But so, Mr. Mayor, members of council, our apologies from myself, and would urge council to consider and possibly approve this purchase.
Mayor, if there's no questions concerning the purchase of the forklift, I would make a motion. We approve the purchase of one Mitsubishi 3,500-pound material handler from Nauman Hobbs Material Handling Inc. for the amount of $26,607 to be funded from GL account number 50-80-52,000.
Motion and second for approval of item E.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, John is here. If you had any questions about it, they love it. It's electrical. It doesn't pollute. So.
We have a charging station for it.
What's that? Okay, so it was a CIP item, and we're able to get a good deal on it, and that's why it got down lower. So.
Does it have Bluetooth?
And there's, Public Works pickup trucks, they have crank windows and everything. They're real official. No Bluetooth there.
How do you get it fixed? Okay, we have a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item 5, a special meeting and public hearing to adopt the fiscal year 2022-2023 final budget and property tax levy. So at this time, I will open the special meeting for the public hearing of fiscal year 2021, 2022 final budget and 2021-22 tax levy.
So Mr. Mayor, with the opening of the special meeting, would ask that you open the public hearing for the final budget adoption and the public tax levy.
Is that 2022, 2023 instead of 21 and 22?
That would be, oh, yes.
We have to correct that on that.
And yes, it would.
Mayor, I do have a question. So I know it's part of the public hearing, but
Well, and when we close public hearing, we'll go through a short presentation on each of these and a chance for questions also.
Okay.
But if I don't, so did we see
Well,
anything on the phone?
this was shared with me by the public, so I don't know can I share it on their behalf then?
Sure, yes.
Okay. I spoke with someone from the iArt Glove Group, and a lot of the grants that they're pursuing want to see that the city is contributing towards the public art. So that's like also something that they're doing. And I know that we've done it, but we've done it more of an in-kind, right? So how would we document that on a budget, or would we, or is there something that we can do to show that we are participating and helping in the public art?
I do not know that I'm trying to remember if there is a line item for I believe there was 8,000, but that might have been the
line item
for the TP.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it. So I
Yeah,
was just
no,
wondering.
it's in the list of CIP items. But we do, I believe it was the TP. Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay, so then, so we can say that we have done it into the budget then.
right, and if there is a partnership and a project that we want to partner with, we have a number of sources. We have some community money. We have unrestricted contingency we can pull money from. It shouldn't be a problem to. Yeah, just to confirm, it is in there. And so we can move money around if there's something. The budget is a roadmap and a plan, and we try to assume that we're not in full knowledge of everything's going to happen in the next year. And so we leave ourselves ways that we can, through council, to give council the ability to change up and swap out and add in those types of projects. And I can't think that anything would be so expensive that we couldn't find a way if we were asked and council wanted to.
I think one of the projects is the city has, agreed to install the first bench or the midway bench of the Pascal stairs, and that's gonna take, material and labor, but that's in kind also with the city participation, so.
And I will also remind council that on recommendation of our interim finance director, that we take a 6-month evaluation of the budget. And that is something that we strongly recommend. So in January, we'll kind of look at see what the revenues are, see where the expenditures are, see what we missed in the process. And if there's any tweaking or things that we need to build in, we can sort that out there. So we're going to have a 6-month check-in on this.
So at this time, just a reminder, there's a public hearing. Anybody on YouTube that wishes to send in a question, either by phone or by email, you can do it at this time.
Yeah, we have nothing on the phone. We have nothing in the email. And I don't think we received anything previous to this. So Mr. Mayor, members of council, nothing at this time.
So at this time, I'll close the public hearing. And now we have consideration to adopt the final budget in the amount of $42,541,669 for fiscal year 2022-2023, and this is a presentation by Paul right now. We're not considering the vote right now.
So, and if Danny, if the budget presentation would be.
Yes, please, anybody present, sign in on the sign-in sheet for that public hearing, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
So, let's see, and if you have the go forward, it's, so just some FY 23, the budgets and just some nomenclature. If you see FY 23, you assume it's the year before and the year after. It's I don't know how they do this. I know from experience. So usually I like to say 2022/23, but just FY 23 is the budget that we're talking about now, which will end. Total budget, again, $42,541,670. Combined revenues in taxes that we're collecting, $8,940,735. State shared revenues, or if we'd like to say revenues collected on behalf of the city, additional $3,117,557. And this is to fund, there's additional revenues, but these are the core functions. The first number includes property tax. The second number is that combined money that we receive from the state. Operational budget of $12,665,329. Total general fund revenues over all expenses, $1,075,947. That's additional revenues we've collected over our expenditures in operational money. And that's the ongoing, that's the important one. Well, all important, but that's the one that we usually struggle with. We have a general fund CIP of $915,987. We have two contingency funds. We have both a general fund unrestricted contingency of $357,210. Actually, I think that went down 25,000. My error in the presentation. We did make two changes to the budget. We took 25,000 out of the contingency fund and moved it into a fund that will allow us to do demolitions for abatement. We had money in there last year that wasn't fully used, and for whatever reason we caught that it had swept out. And so in actuality, the budget shows, and I meant to change that on my slide, we're at 22,000. You subtract 25,000 from 57,000, 210. And then the council approved restricted contingency is what council likes to see, which is $3 million parked, protected in the lockbox, and these are for those serious, things that come up. So that we can pay the bills and keep the city running if something major were to happen. Now the 300,000 are for those everyday things that we miss, that we may or may not see coming, like the IR. If we were doing IR, we would pull it from the unrestricted, but council would have to all be in agreement to do anything from the 3 million.
So the general fund unrestricted contingency amount is 325,
So it'd have to 332.
332, okay. We need to make that correction if we're gonna put.
Well, it's right in the documentation. It's not right in my PowerPoint.
Oh,
Okay, so no, the budget's right. And Chancey, are you there? And I kind of hear it. No. So then the I think I hear her whispering, but that was one of the second adjustment was we put some additional money into the enterprise staffing funds, and in order to bolster that, and took that out of enterprise fund balance as we do some adjustments there.
That doesn't change the high-end number, that
No.
just, you made some adjustments within the
Right.
line items to keep it because we can't raise it, so.
Right, so we add 25 to the general fund budget, we pull 25 out of contingency, and the same in enterprise. So the next slide, this is my last slide. Budget highlights, focus on council priorities. We just had a strategic action plan. We made sure that our budgets reflected what we're trying to achieve. The three top items on council priorities: number 1, housing; number 2, Northeast Corridor; number 3, the downtown improvements. And I think this budget reflects that. Why use of the 1% sales tax revenues? That is included in the budget. We did not spend all of that money because we have to see. We want to be conservative, see how this goes, but we focused on 3 things there. Number 1, the funding of the fire station that will need to be built, and we're going through USDA. We need to have a source of revenue to fund that debt service. Number 2, locking in, reducing turnover and locking in staff, making sure that we stay fully staffed so we don't lose momentum, don't lose speed, and the cost of turnover so much. Number 3 is investing in public works so we can take the quality of life investments that other people have trusted for us. We received a lot of money from others in the quality of life, playgrounds, pools, parks, and we want to make sure that we have the maintenance operation and the staffing to take care of those investments and make sure that they're done. And so that's reflected in this budget. The other 2 other features in there, Council approved restricted contingency versus the unrestricted contingency. I think breaking this out has worked out fairly well, and I think it's it's easy to look at that and see where those two items separate. And then the 6-month budget review, just because there's so much going on, there's so many changes in the economy, there's so many changes within the city and within the state, and you know, you watch the news, you're not sure, you know, you get 3 different stories. And so we'll take a check-in at 6 months in January and see where we're at. Mr. Mayor, members of council, any questions?
Questions or?
I don't have questions, I just have comments on how we got here. And if I can speak to that, Mr. Mayor. Sometimes in the general public, as we went through this process this year, they only saw one aspect and griped about that one aspect. And building this budget was building the widest possible picture to get a handle on what we're doing here. It's a fisheye lens, and you have to keep that in mind as we build this environment for the city of Globe. And I think that's the most important thing to reiterate is we build this budget, we build this picture to benefit the 7,400 citizens of the city of Globe. This is government at the local level. We don't really listen to special interest groups in the fashioning of this budget. We try to do across our subcommittees, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing thunder from you, Mr. Mayor, but our subcommittees do a lot of this work in building this big picture. So when you try to pick apart one particular item and complain about it, you got to read the whole book. You need to read our subcommittee agendas and meetings and how we got to this place in time. And then we fashion what's called a strategic plan to give staff direction to do it. And we adjust it now every 6 months. The point is, if you want to critique or if you don't understand where it goes, we're posting this information on the website so that you yourself on your own time can analyze what we do here. It's taken a long year to get here. And I, for one, am very pleased by the work with our staff and the work of this council to get to this point in time where we're ready once again to approach a future that looks very bright. And all I ask is that you read the documents and then call us with your questions. Call the city manager's office. We're glad to answer questions about this budget and what we're trying to do. And as I said, we're building the biggest, widest possible blanket, if you will, to protect the city of Globe and improve it at the same time. There are certain things you expect. You need to keep the lights on. The police need to respond. The fire need to respond. The sewer and water systems need to work. But we also try to project into the future. And so the things that we developed on paper, financial, strategic, they're the blueprint that we're using. And I'm very satisfied with where we sit right now. 6 months from now, Gary could be screaming about something again. But the point is, we have a basis and we have a good bunch of staff people who are very savvy in building these things for us. And you can't do it without them. We're just voting on policies. They go make it work. I'm very grateful that we have across the city such staff that can do these things. So if you have a question about this budget, give me a call. I'd be glad to sit down with you. I hold office hours Monday afternoons from 5 to 7 p.m. I'll drag a copy of the hard copy of this budget. I'm glad to talk to you and allay your concerns about how we're spending money. We are very savvy as a city in leveraging every dollar that we can get a hold of to provide a minimal impact on our tax base and our taxes that we do receive. And our staff is very savvy at doing that. So I, for one, am very happy with what I'm seeing as we approach this year. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, before I know you'd like to do some final comments, 2 quick things I wanted to cover. Number one, also at the time we passed the sales tax earlier in May, I'd always said in the window from when we announced it, the 2-month period to now, I'm also wide open to any questions about that, about how we got to the 73% of the sales taxes contributed from the travelers and visitors, or anybody who has any concerns or needs help or would like to discuss that. I'm available to have those sit downs. That's number one. Number two, I did meet with the vice mayor this afternoon, and he wanted a couple comments he wanted to share at this point. Number one, he wanted to thank Jeannie for getting us to this point. Jeannie Seguri who is 5-6 years in getting that fund balance, making sure that's there. Everything, the foundation of what we have now has been built on that, and he's very appreciative of her, wishes her well, and and her and her family. The vice mayor also wanted to thank Chancey for stepping up as interim through this period and get us to this point tonight. Appreciative of that. And then also to our in-house staff, both Terry and Jamie, who worked very hard to get everybody what they needed. There's a lot of, different things going on, and it wasn't the same budget cycle. And even to Shelley, who took on the mantle of being the procurement coordinator. And so it was a team effort, and then all the staff was so in going through the budget process was helpful. They're involved. They were patient. We got everything organized, and sometimes it was hurry up and wait. And so your whole staff has been a part of this budget, which they should be, even though it was not your normal budget cycle. Mr. Mayor, members of council, I just want to share my thoughts and thoughts from the vice mayor.
Paul, I had a couple of questions on, if you go back to your one slide that had the total sales tax, I think it was 8 million or something like that. Now that includes the anticipated 1% increase in sales tax also,
Correct.
right? And all the projects that we have reviewed and discussed through our subcommittees and even through council on the purchases, like, and you mentioned it already, like the station, the truck,
Yes.
the salaries, the public works and all that. We, even with that anticipation, we still did not get to that level, or we're still not anticipating the amount of revenue that we're gonna receive because of that increase. We still have balance.
We still in the combined revenue even with that additional things, with the three core things and some police cars and some CIP items we added in there that we wanted to keep going. We still had that about $1 million in ongoing fund over the top of that. No, that's additional revenues over expenditures. So now we did use, and so that money did fall into the CIP portion. And normally, in a normal budget cycle, we are tight, trying to get revenues, expenditures, get it balanced. If you remember last year, I at the very end had to take some cuts through certain things and get it down so it balanced. This year, we were happy to see that we were on the overside, but the CIP, because we wanted to protect that $3 million, and so we used the additional collection projected to backfill the CIP with ongoing money rather than using one-time money, and that way we save the one-time money in there for the $3 million restricted contingency that council likes.
We also anticipate additional revenues again with additional businesses that are coming in, such as the Cal Ranch. We have a medical marijuana or recreational marijuana facility that should open here this year.
Right.
So there is additional revenue on top of whatever they've been projected.
Yes, and then we're seeing, we did see additional state shared. And there's a lot of moving pieces. That's why the look ahead, the look at the 6 months and see, these are projections looking in the future. We know Cal Ranch they've paved their parking lot, they're hiring. We know they're coming. We know that the medical marijuana is in the middle of doing their tenant improvements. And we know there's other things around the corner that'll help to this also. We know there's going to be a lot of economic activity because the mines have have plans, and there's a lot of activity there. So that will help both. But you can only count the chickens you know. We can't, pie in the sky. We gotta say, okay, what do we know for sure? What can we plan ahead? And I think Chancey agrees with most finance directors. There's two types of finance directors. There are conservative ones and there are unemployed ones. So so you always play it careful.
And one
Yeah.
last question on page 15. It has the total funds on the final budget. It has the $45 million number on there. Why is that a different number than
And-
our total from 42 million?
And let me see, and this is on the
Page
budget.
15 on the booklet that we received.
Let's see here. Bring this up. Do you have it? And Chancey, are you there? The funds that you're, let's see, this is part of the, let's see. Nancy, can you hear us? Nancy, did you hear the question? And and Chancey, if you want to just call in cell phone to the Zoom. Does she have a call-in number?
So the budget that we adopted is
42.
42, so that doesn't include the 3 million restricted contingency that we have voted on. It's a difference about $3,151.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different number. I thought the 42 million included that 3 million restricted contingency.
Let's see. Let me text her real quick.
I'm here, sir.
Hey, Chancey, there you are. Chancey,
Sorry, I think I was muted or something. But I've heard the conversation, and I understand you had a question about the contingency fund.
on page 15, it says in the final budget book that we shared with council as part of this package, in the proposed 22-23 budget, it says total all funds 45,693,666, yet the adopted budget number is a 42,000 number. Like 42 million.
For future contingency plans, that must be noted on Schedule A, so that is $3 million the funds will have some kind of future plans. So it's represented two different ways. You do have the ability to access that money for council action, but as far as the council has directed staff, it is been set aside for future plans.
So, and you're coming through a little bit on the scratchy side. So the difference between the 45 million and the 42 million is the 3.142 contingency, but it still is available for expenditure with council approval.
So even if you don't budget it, we are allowed to access that money, that fund?
Did you hear the mayor's question?
Yes, I hear. The Schedule A is intended to show the intent of council and the intent of the budget. By stating, as the council has, that certain contingency funds are reserved for future use, you let the public know that you do in fact have this money, but intend to use it in the future or for future projects or for future circumstances. So you do have the money, at 45,000, as the mayor, noted. You are only planned to access the 42 million for the specific fund, specific activities stated in the budget. Council ultimately has to change their feelings about the contingency money and access that. And that is why the 3 million is denoted on Schedule A as a future or contingent item.
Thank you, Chancey.
And Chancey, did you have anything to add on the budget before, as we go forward with the possible vote?
No, thank you, Mayor, Council, for having this evening, and the presentation the cabinet for days. I would just like to say, as new council has, it is a process of trying to keep a broad picture and some very fine strokes at the same time with a handful of pages and a handful of numbers. So we do appreciate the public coming forward and asking these questions and the council asking difficult questions of staff to clarify and make sure that these numbers are representative of the next 12 months of activity. And also, it is a concerted effort between all staff to produce this document for the citizens and ensure that the citizens and the council's desires are represented in it. And I thank you all for participating and directing staff in that process. I do have one request that the council does adopt the final budget this evening. And in doing so, I would ask that you make one clerical correction to Schedule B. And I request that you state in your adoption, if you so choose, that you would adopt the schedule of the final budget with the correction on Schedule B, clerical correction of 2023 budget of 1.2468. And I believe the town manager has a note on that. You would also consider that clerical adjustment when you are considering adoption of final budget. Thank you.
And I believe that 1.2468 is the rate on the sales tax. Yeah, I'm sorry, not sales tax, the rate on the property tax. 1.2468. Is that what I heard? What's that? That is the adjusted rate for the property tax. It's actually down a fraction because the appraisals are up a fraction. It will be. Okay, I see it there.
We're lowering it from 1.26 to 1.23. Is that where you?
And so it's being lowered. It was 1.26. It's going down to 1.24, but there's a clerical error in the 1.23. It is still going down.
So we'll need to note that change in item B.
Yeah,
When we
in
go
the
to reading.
stipulation stipulation as part of the motion to pass. So Neatham's got a handle on this to make the motion. Oh, I can do that.
Any other questions for Paul? We move on to item B.
Um,
We'll go on to item B is consideration to approve
And- Oh, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I do believe this is actually would be the point where we motion second and vote on the budget. And then the second one, the second item B will be the tax levy.
Oh, okay, that is the, okay,
This,
that's
so
just the tax-
this is the,
property tax adjustment.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so do you have a motion for adoption of final budget?
Other questions or comments on motion to approve the final budget in the amount of $42,541,669 for fiscal year 2022-23 with the clerical correction on Schedule B to reflect 1.2468 property tax.
Motion and second for approval of the final budget. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think for, if my memory serves me, I don't believe we require a roll call vote.
I don't think we've ever
Okay.
done a roll call.
Just want to double check. Okay.
Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you.
Item B, consideration to approve ordinance number 883 for the adoption of fiscal year 2022-2023 property tax rate adjustment for fiscal year 2022-2023 from 1.2618 to 1.2468, levied on each $100 of the assessed value of all property, both real and personal, within the corporate city limits of Globe. Lisa, can you read ordinance number 883, please?
Ordinance number 883, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Grove levying on the assessed value of the property within the city of Grove, subject to up each $100 sufficient to raise the amount estimated to be required, thus the amount estimated to be received from other sources of revenue, providing funds for general municipal expenses for the fiscal year ending the 30th day of June 2023. Council pleased with the reading?
And so, Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you want to hit the slide and go forward. So just a couple of, there are many terms and property tax are very complicated, and Arizona taxing system in itself is very complicated. The three key terms I wanted to talk about, total assessed value, the monetary value of all property determined by the county. I don't want to go through the process of fair market value versus the things in there, but this is the number that the county computes based on their assessment of the values after it goes through the legal requirements. The tax rate, that is the rate the city has set to tax property within the city, and then the levy amount, the total amount of money the city intends to collect in property taxes. The pledge from the city council was to maintain, to not increase the tax levy, the property tax levy. Now the appraisals may go up and the total assessed value may go up. In order to keep the levy the same, we take down the tax rate. If in the future something happens and the levy goes down, I'm sorry, not that levy, there it goes. The assessed value goes down, the property assessments go down, the rate would go back up to capture the same levy amount. But the levy is that dollar figure. The only caveat to that is new construction is added in, and that we capture that same additional rate. That does not affect our bottom line. It needs to be added in there. And so that's the simple formula. Total assessed value times the tax rate equals the levy. Next slide. So the nuts and bolts in here, and the current property tax rate is the 1.2618 per $100 assessed value. The proposed tax rate for 2023 is that 1.2468 number, which is less than the 1 cent, less than a 1 cent decrease per 100,000 per $100. I'm used to the big numbers. For 2023, the assessed value of the city has been increased from 42,584,121 to 43,181 dollars and 372, or an increase of about 859,833 to the property assessed value. All right, so estimated property tax collection for 2022 was the 534,013. So the estimated property tax collection for FY 2023 is going to be the 541,399, which represents $7,386 increase, which is the tax rate assessed against the increase in construction. So that represents a new construction that happened in Globe, at least the new construction that had an assessed value. With that, we'll go to the next slide. Just some high level stuff. The city of Globe made a commitment to not raise our property tax levy other than new construction for the 5 years starting this year. Total assessed values have gone up, so the city has lowered the tax rate slightly. Don't be, and some people say, oh, well, the rate might have gone up if the assessed value goes. It's a levy is the amount that we take from the community, and that is the key amount. So the levy remains consistent, except for the new construction. Questions on what we've seen so far? So next slide is questions.
Question?
Is it, if it's in the ordinance, then we need to stipulate in the, it has the old number, yeah. I would ask that council stipulate that the ordinance be adjusted to the new 2023 rate of 1.2468. Thank you for checking on that. We're searching for that.
No other questions or comments? No approve ordinance number 883, levying taxes for the fiscal year 2022-2023 of primary property tax sufficient to raise the sum $541,399, estimated to be a 1.2468 on each $100 of the assessed valuation, with the stipulation that the clerical error in section 1 of that ordinance be changed to represent 1.2468.
Motion and second for approval of ordinance 883. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Thank you.
So at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and close that special meeting and go on to new business then. So we have item A, consideration to approve contract number GS-2023-0010 for presiding magistrate services with Judge John Perlman for an annual amount of $42,164.40, budgeted in account number 10-58-51234, magistrate contractual services, and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion of.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we you'll see a series of re-upping of contracts. Everybody's been, I believe, very happy with our magistrate, and we're just renewing his contract for another year. I don't think that there are any material changes to it at all, but Judge Perlman is here to address the court. I'm sorry, the court. Accordion slip. Address the council if he so chooses. You want to say anything? No? But you need to go to the microphone so those out there and
That way they can hear us on YouTube.
yeah. Once again, looking good.
Honorable Mayor, Council, pleasure to stand before you this evening. I believe my understanding is the contract is just coming up for renewal. There are no material changes as Mr. Jepson indicated. It's just my pleasure to serve the people of Globe, and I serve at the whim of the council. It's also my pleasure to do that. I love my job, and I love what I do. I love what I get to do. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there has been a tremendous increase in the number of traffic citations recently. My understanding is that the police force is fully staffed. That's a great thing. I'm a law and order kind of guy. So, anyway, any questions, I'm happy to answer them if I can.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I will tell you that in conversations with Chief Walters, one of the things that he and his department are determined to make a change in is the number of fatalities we have on US 60 going through town. It is high. It is hard on. It is, something that you don't want to see. He wants to make a difference in that, and one way he does that is by slowing people down. And so it's not a fundraiser or anything like that. It is trying to persuade people to modify their behavior and be safe through the hills and the curbs of the globe while you're here visiting or traveling through. So it's important. I'm sorry, I had to stick that in.
I guess there's no questions, but thank you for your services.
Thank you. My honor. It's my pleasure. Proud of what I get to do. So thank you guys.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval of item 6A. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item B is discussion and consideration to issue invitation for bid IFB number CS-2023-0001 for the Globe Community Center sewer line replacement project with funds to come from account number 51-80-52200, wastewater capital outlay construction with possible reimbursement from WIFA. Jerry.
Mayor, members of council, this is the first of the 21 WIPA projects to come out. We have currently been through procurement, got the contracts ready and so forth. It got sent to CAG. We haven't got it back yet, but we won't advertise until we get full legal approval through CAG and WIPA. But we're asking tonight for your permission as soon as we get that permission to go ahead and advertise. And I know you said in the past it wasn't necessary until we had a contract to do something with, but as Paul has said before, we like to bring it to you to tell you what's going on and ask for your permission. So tonight we're asking to move forward as soon as we gain CAG's approval. WIFA actually went out and asked the COG to look over the procurement documents to make sure that we were in compliance. So that's what they're doing right now. They've had it for quite a while, so we keep poking and prodding, but we didn't get it back in time. So we're just going to postpone until we get it all the way through legal. So that's my spiel for tonight.
We know why the delay on getting a response back, or is
It's just a matter of
It's a matter of personnel.
Yeah.
They've had kind of an upset there, so we got the right people looking at it now.
Okay. Yeah. No, we're running this pretty tight, and the choice was to postpone it 2 weeks, or go and ask for to approve with a contingency to be signed.
We really think we'll get approval yet this week. That's why we're right before you tonight.
What's the route of the sewer line gonna be?
From the Boys and Girls Club through the Ice House Canyon Creek there, up back on the road, and then out to there at the fire station, at Tri-City Fire Station. And then we have tie-ins at the community center and to Besh. So
Reyes Ridge? Is Reyes Ridge gonna be part of that?
there's going to be a manhole there if they choose to tie into it.
Okay. Just curious.
So it's available to them, and sized up enough to handle them if they choose to tie in. So this is our first project that we pushed through, and to be real honest with you, it was a complicated project. There were some of the sewer lines, had we ran a straight sewer line from one end to the other, that would have been 28, 29 feet deep. And so we had to put in a series of drop manholes to keep that from happening. Otherwise, as Freddie could tell you, it would cost a fortune to put it in that deep. So most of our sewer lines now are anywhere from 4 to 7 feet deep. So we've managed to minimize those. And then where we really had an issue was back by Beshbekala, because where it would have ran is practically straight down there at the Tri-City Fire Department. So what we chose to design there is a grinder and a small lift station to take the sewage and pump it into the community center manhole there. So we're actually going to pump that, but we're going to save, $250,000 doing it that way. So it was touch and go there for a while, but I think we've got a good plan, and we're asking permission to advertise it. See if we can get a good price.
Jerry, do you know what the percentage WIFA might be? If we get reimbursement percentage, do we know?
So we'll put in for everything that we spend, yeah. But, we still have to pay it back, but except for the forgivable. But it's somewhere around about a $700,000 job. Somewhere. We talked about that at one of the other council meetings, how the costs have gone up on some of these projects.
Do we need to waive the rule, or since it's not really?
Is this a move forward subject to the next meeting?
I need direction from council to advertise. There's no contractual obligation on this.
This is not Mr. Mayor, members of council, is not the last time that you will see this, so there's no need to waive the rule.
Yeah, just direction is all I need at this point.
I'll make a motion then to move forward with putting this out to bid.
Motion and second for approval of item 6B. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Item C, discussion and consideration to approve the Brownfield Assessment Coalition Memorandum of Agreement between Gila County, Pinal County, City of Globe, Town of Superior, Town of Miami, and Town of Winkleman regarding the management of brownfield sites.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Terry Barnes is here to elaborate on this.
I was so happy that I didn't have the last item. Because I always have the last item. And so then Paul says, oh, remember Linda's item that's last? You're going to do it tonight. So
this is how we keep him from spending all the time on a PowerPoint. Right at the very edge of the meeting.
This one's actually pretty simple, and it's a MOU between these entities, Winkleman, Miami, Superior, Gila County, and Globe, for blight mitigation and the environmental issues that are associated using brownfield grants to mitigate those. So that's what it's for, and for us to work together to identify those areas, those blight areas that need mitigated. So that's what it's all about.
Fernando, go ahead.
I went all over that thing looking to see what dollar amount they were trying to divvy out, but it didn't reference that at all.
You have to apply for each one of them. You have to apply for each one. Under the brownfield grant, they give you a process, and until you have chosen a particular site, they will not give you a dollar amount. So you'll have to, we'll have to get an estimate for different levels of environmental mitigation, and then apply for the brownfield grant to mitigate those. But this is an MOU where we'll all be working together. So we might apply for 2 or 3 in one.
Jerry, this is different than we had a meeting down in Superior with and had an agreement for blight request for funding. That was a different funding source, wasn't it? Was that through the state? That wasn't brownfield.
No, that wasn't brownfield, that was a HUD grant, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that was a HUD grant, but,
Yes,
this is strictly a brownfield, and it's made for environmental mitigation and environmental assessment. So, to answer your question earlier, a brownfield grant could be as easy as, looking at these 10 properties and see if there's environmental issues. So we did some over in Miami, that's why Paul Vollen told me to do this. We did some over in Miami that, where they were old gas stations where we evaluated them, and then we went to the next level and actually mitigated them under a different type of brownfield grant, so. It's free money. So, right now, we need to agree to be a partner in this.
Mayor, I would move to approve the Brownfield Assessment Coalition Memorandum of Agreement between Gila County, Pinal County, City of Globe, Town of Superior, Town of Miami, and Town of Winkleman regarding the management of brownfield sites.
Do we need to waive the rules on this too?
I would do it just in case, yes.
I would amend my motion to
Motion and second to approve item 6C. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. We have no action items, late agenda items? Do we have any?
The we did have the one late agenda item that we dealt with in the consent,
Okay.
Agenda.
Second call to the public. Do we have any online or email?
Take a look here real quick. Don't see anything on the internet from the emails, nothing, no text. And
Scheduling of meetings?
nothing, no changes in the near future.
Any consideration for future items? Agenda items?
Anything the council would like to bring up at this point?
Wow.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.